Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and today we're going to be talking about Strats. Well, I'm going to be talking about guitars in general, but it was a video that I put on YouTube featuring this guitar, which is my 2000 Fender USA Standard Strat. I've done a little bit of modification too recently. It was a video about this guitar that I got a comment on, which it's got a couple of things in the comment that I think would be worth talking about. Comment from Randy Endrian. So glad to see someone reviewing a USA Standard Strat from early 2000. I bought mine new in 2001, only played it a handful of times in my room, never used it for a gig or whatever. Then he goes on to say basically left it in a case when he went away to study, stood it in a case for about 12 years. Came back, opened the case, rust all over the screws, the saddles, pots are stuck, switch isn't moving. Had to get it cleaned up and now it's working okay. Thankfully all the wood and the wooden stuff was okay. After 12 years my music taste is changing and I do prefer the humbucker sound. I'm planning on changing the pickup. It talks about my review of the guitar and whether or not going for a humbucker or staying with the single coil pickups is the right thing to do. So a couple of things to talk about on that. Just a quick drink. Is it wrong to drink coffee out of a Tetley tea mug? I don't know. Okay, first off, the keeping your guitar in a case. Now that's quite interesting because this guitar was kept in a case for a very long time. When I got it, it was pretty much mint condition. It's a year 2000 guitar, and I think it had been left in the case for about 15 years till it came to the trader who sold it on to me. And certainly I've been quite lucky that it survived being in the case reasonably well. It was, pretty much as it left the factory. Only real sort of evidence that it had been in the case for an extended period of time was it did kind of smell because it had been closed in the case, and the lacquer on this it's a polyurethane lacquer that they use on the USA standards. It's for all it's set and it's cured over time. I think there's certain vapor comes off of it, and that had been trapped in the case for years and years and years. The main thing that I noticed, and don't even know how well it'll show up on camera, if some of the dot markers, this being a maple neck, it's got a lacquer on top of the fingerboard, and just in places the lacquer isn't adhering to the dot markers quite as well as it could, and it's kind of getting this almost like this two-tone sort of effect. It's more noticeable on some dots than others. From sort of distance that you're away there, you probably can't tell, so when you kind of like on the close-up camera, you can see that. And the other thing which I noticed is and even on the B cam, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get close enough to focus, there is some very, very slight hairline cracks in the lacquer, and that's just because the guitar's been kept in the case and it hasn't been able to breathe. Now I was quite lucky, I think, that this guitar got sealed away in a case by somebody who lived in a fairly dry climate, so there wasn't a lot of humidity in the case when the guitar got shut away. If you look at some of the more high-end boutique guitar cases, particularly for acoustics, you'll sometimes see them, they've got like a little humidity meter built in. That's quite an important measure. The humidity is how much dampness there is in the air. You need a certain amount, otherwise the small amount of moisture that's in the wood, wood should be dry, but there's still a little bit of moisture in there. And if your guitar is allowed to completely dry out, you'll start to notice things like the fret ends start to feel sharp, and that's because the wood's actually contracting slightly as it loses moisture. And there is sort of like a butter zone as to how much moisture or how much humidity you need in the air for the guitar, for the timbre to remain healthy, but for not to be affected by the damp. The worst thing you can do is if you take your guitar to a gig, leave the guitar case open on the stage, you're playing in a pub or a club, it's hot, it's humid, it's damp, lots of people, lots of perspiration, and people breathing, there's quite a damp atmosphere. Get your guitar, put it in the case, close it. You're closing in all sorts of like damp air from the environment, and eventually that dampness is going to get to work on things like the screws, on the bridge, and so on, and it'll start to corrode. It'll start to rust. So if you do that, you bring your guitar home from a gig, it's important not to leave it shut in the case. Take it out, even if you don't have like wall hangers like this, but allow it to kind of acclimatise to a normal environment. I think the most important message though is just don't leave guitars in cases for long periods of time. These things are meant to be played, not put in boxes and stored away. So keep the guitar out, and it'll let some air get to it, and it'll be a healthier instrument for that. Okay, the second part of the question was about humbuckers versus single coils. And Wendy's question was, do I really need to change a pickup? I like the humbucking sound, but actually I quite like the way the Strat sounds. And what I did discover when I replaced the scratch plate on this guitar is that the pickup routing underneath here, certainly in the bridge and I think in the neck as well, it is actually routed out to take a humbucking pickup. I guess it's economies of scale. Fender make these guitars mostly with the 3 single coil pickups, but they also make versions with humbuckers, so they've got one standard set of machining that they do. So if you're thinking about a humbucking pickup, it's not that invasive for the guitar because the actual guitar body is routed out. You don't need to do anything particularly structural to it. Now Strat is a good example of guitar being just basically a bunch of parts that are assembled. Now depending on where you are in the model range, the quality of those parts is better or worse. The level of craftsmanship in putting them together is greater or less. But this is the Strat USA standard Strat. It's good quality hardware, some very nice sounding Alnico 2 pickups. But they're a bunch of component parts. So if you take this, what you can do is potentially take the scratch plate off and buy a replacement one that's got a cutout for a humbucking pickup. Transfer all of your hardware, apart from the bridge pickup, over to the new scratch plate. It's reasonably easy to do. I've actually got another video I've got where I did some plastic parts replacement on that blue Mexican Strat. I kept the original scratch plate, but it'll show you how easy it is to swap hardware around. Something you can easily do yourself, and get yourself a replacement pickup, a replacement scratch plate. So you keep the original one from your guitar if you ever want to go back, and then get a humbucking pickup to go into the bridge position. My personal advice would be go for something like no more than a medium output. These are not the hottest pickups in the world, the stock ones in the USA standard Strat. So like moderate output, humbucker at the bridge. There's plenty options out there in the replacement pickup marketplace. But you can try that, fit it to your new scratch plate. If it's a standard Fender compatible scratch plate, all the holes will be in the right place. You can fit it straight to your guitar. If you like that, you can play it as a humbucker equipped guitar. If you ever change your mind and you want to go back to the original layout, you've got the original scratch plate and you've got the original single coil pickups, and because of the way the guitar's routed underneath here, you don't need to worry about you've potentially done some damage to it because you've routed out new holes. The holes are already there under the scratch plate to take a humbucking pickup. Okay, so there's two completely different topics discussed in one video because of one comment I got from somebody. So as always, if you've got any comments that you want to make, then leave them in the comment section below. If you've liked the video, please click like or subscribe. And if you've got a question that you want to ask me, if you go here, there's a form you can fill in and submit that, and I'll try and get around to answering your question in a future video. Right, that's a lot for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.